Cheers, lads. Let's have a good episode, and welcome, Martin, to the Bazinga Boys. You're going to have... thank you for being our first guest.
Thank you for having me. I don't know why I'm here.
Bazinga boys are here to speak all of their thoughts on the Big Mac theory. Rob has an opinion, Vaughn has an opinion, Pete probably has one too. But most of all, Rob has an opinion.
Hello, everyone. My name's Vaughn. I'm a Bazinga boy.
I'm Rob, I'm a Bazinga boy.
I'm Pete. I'm a Bazinga boy.
And Martin, who the fuck are you?
I am Martin. I am a Bazinga boy. What the fuck?
You're not a Bazinga boy, you're a fucking guest, and you should fucking know where you stand.
Okay, well, what a lovely intro to our first ever guest on the podcast.
You don't belong here.
That's going to get people really wanting to join us on here. If I'm going to introduce our guest, his name is... do you want a moniker, Martin?
A moniker? What moniker do you use?
Vaughn.
Well, maybe Martin is a suitable moniker for me.
I don't know. There's some people who wouldn't want their name attached to this. You're obviously not smart enough to do that. Neither am I. So Martin,
We'll call him Smartin.
Yeah. I was gonna say it would be really good if we're like, okay, we'll give you a fake name just so you don't get any trouble or anything like that, and we'll call him like Space Lord or something. And then at the end we're like, so we'll plug your website, martinwills.com. Goes there, see all this amazing artwork. Can you just introduce the people a bit about you, what you do, and who you are and what you are?
I'm a human being named Martin Wills. And I tend to call myself an artist. So I'm a painter and all that kind of stuff. But my day job is in local government, which is really boring. So, that's my life.
Great. Well, I was just going to say, have a kind of tone in your voice of regret. And getting you involved in this and getting you to come on the show has just made me feel a bit guilty. Like, I imagine it is the same feeling as someone who's involved in a pyramid scheme, and when they get their friends and family involved. And this is the first
they're
time.
like, yay, I get an extra commission, but then they're trapped in this cycle of hell with me.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
I tried to convince you, like, nah, it's great. We have fun. It's a little thing on the side. Yeah, you know. And now I have to face you for the first time since I've conned you into this. And I just feel guilty.
Yeah, at this stage, there's no tangible benefit to being involved in this complete garbage fire. But we'll see how we go.
You never know. This could be the start of something great for you.
This
You never know.
could really boost your government career.
Let's get on to the episode. Pete, do you want to give like your little mini recap episode before I verse the DVD DVD jacket?
Of course. We find out that Sheldon has a sister. The end.
That was it. That was literally the
Okay,
episode.
there's a little bit more that happens than that.
No, there wasn't. I mean,
Sheldon's sister comes to town, and then all the boys in the house are gross towards her, and they're all trying to hit on her and decide who gets ownership over Sheldon's sister. The end.
Can I give my recap?
Yeah. Give
Go for it, Martin.
Give your review of it.
So I was imagining how this would be pitched in the writer's room. I don't understand. Is there even a writer's room for this show? But this is how I summed it up. Sister comes to visit. Boys fight over right to mate with her. She turns them all down. The end.
Are you reading the DVD jacket there, Martin? We're ruining the segment for later.
The weird thing though is that this was four very short sentences. The show was 21 minutes long, but it felt like I was watching it for an hour. I don't understand.
Yeah, welcome to the party. This is us every week. There's never a B plot either. They never bother with a B plot. Like you said, we don't know if there's a writer's room or if it's just some guy finding scraps of paper on the ground outside the building and just going, well, that's a story.
Yeah,
Like-
I guess everyone who is listening might want to know that I've never seen an episode of this show before. I've actively avoided it until this afternoon, and I hate all of you for making me do this.
But yeah, it's weird, Martin. Like all the classic sitcoms, you know, your Seinfelds, your Frasers, the ones that have genuinely been hits and have stuck with us with time. Like they've got their A plot and their B plot. Big Bang Theory is just like this is our like Z plot, and that's the whole episode, and that's it. That's it. They just go with one thing. Like that first fucking scene went for 5 minutes. It was just in a hallway, and it was just one joke. It was Sheldon has a hot sister, and that was the joke. But then they ran it for 5 minutes. This is the show. This is what you've walked into.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you remember last week, we did Vaughn versus the DVD jacket. So we found that Pete got season 1 DVD, really handily got it, missing the only disc that we have left to watch. So might as well get something out of it. And I'm going to compare my prediction. So I'm trying to predict what's written on the DVD jacket. And see how close I can get with my recap of the episode versus theirs. So, Rob, if you want to have a little read of what I've sent you through here.
All right. In this episode of The Big Bang Theory, Jim Parsons plays a character who gets a sandwich he doesn't like. You sent me the
that's
same
last
one.
time.
You sent me last week's one. Vaughn.
Oh, whoops. I really didn't mean to do that. Fuck. Sorry, I'll try. Fuck. Let's try this one. Fucking idiot.
Vaughn versus DVD. All right, let me pull it up. Sheldon's hot sister comes to town. Raj gains the ability to talk to women, makes viewers wish he would go back to being silent. Raj tries to impress Sheldon's sister by listing facts about sex and India. Fails to mention any horrific statistics. Howard tries to impress her by claiming that he invented genital mutilation. Sorry, I'm going to read that one again for one. Howard tries to impress her by claiming that he invented genital mutilation. Glasses Man decides to convince Sheldon to gift his sister to him. Gift his sister. This sentence doesn't work, Vaughn. Can you?
Oh, what did I say?
Sorry. Glasses Man decides to convince Sheldon to gift his sister to him, sex slave. All right. Sheldon agrees as long as Glasses Man can eat a piece of cheese.
That's what happened in the episode.
The episode starts. The episode starts to get weird and incesty, and then veers away right before Sheldon figures out he should be the one to impregnate his sister.
Did you get that vibe, by the way? Because he was like, he was going
Yeah,
through it, working through it in his head, going, oh, okay, wait, I need to create this like super spawn. The only person who can do that is me. And then she's like, hey, sit down on the bed. And I was like, whoa, where are we going?
All right, and the last but not least, in the third act, actors can be seen in the background of shots on their phones to their agents as they become aware there's no way they're getting a second season.
I honestly, after this episode, I was like, how did they ever think they're going to get a second season? Like,
This was a terrible
worst episode so far?
Not the worst.
Not the worst, but easily the most nothing episode.
For me, it definitely was the worst episode. So
But it was
far.
also, but Martin, in the same sentence, is also the best episode of The Big Bang Theory you've ever watched.
Well, that's true.
So how did I go versus the DVD jacket? How did that compare to the actual DVD jacket? What was that DVD jacket say there, Pete?
All right, so that was episode 15, the pork chop indeterminacy. There you go. I'm learning how to read. Sheldon's twin Missy is nothing like Sheldon, which makes her the other guy's newest dream girl. The end.
Fucking hell.
I love
Lazy.
What the hell?
Lazy.
Someone got paid to write that, and look at me here doing it pro
So
bono.
lazy.
Seeing as we've got a guest on today, I thought it might be interesting to just ask you some questions, Martin, because you're not going to be here for long. Sorry about the illness. So what was your experience with The Big Bang Theory before this?
My experience with The Big Bang Theory prior to this was watching that thing on YouTube where it's just them saying their lines with no laugh track, and hearing various things about how it's the most popular show in fucking stupid America.
What do you think the appeal is? Because we've been trying to figure it out for 15 episodes.
I don't know. I don't know. It's a fascinating puzzle. It's like a weird experiment of some kind. I don't understand it. It's really strange.
Robert Pete, have you figured out? You've studied a lot harder than Martin on this question. Do you have anything yet on why this is popular?
Well, I can tell you what it's not. It's not the use of the fucking word Bazinga, because it hasn't even come up yet.
Yeah, we're still
We're looking like a couple of fools with our name.
Right now, we're just boys. I don't know what the appeal is. It's I argue it every week. They just make references, and then apparently that makes it smart nerd humor. I'm sick of people telling me you just don't get it.
How
How
many people are you experiencing?
That's what I get.
Are you just walking down the street? People are going up to you, just like, you just don't get it, Rob.
Hundreds,
Walking
Vaughn.
off.
Is it just that the show is very broad and unchallenging, but it has this veneer of like intellectualism? You know, people like the phrasing is like kind of dorky and scientific in some ways.
Yeah, we found that like the veneer is very thin. It's not even like the jokes are sort of geek based. It's just a reference to something that geeks like. It will just be like,
Yes.
it's like lightsaber, and it was like, that's a geek thing.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like the people that watch this show are the people who are still watching broadcast television, number one. So
Boomers.
they're probably like a little bit stupid. And so if they hear something that they recognize, or maybe even if it's, you know, some sciencey joke, it makes them feel smart for laughing at the dorks who, like, I don't fucking know.
That's what I'm feeling like it is. It is a very laughing at the characters.
Yeah.
Audience loved it though.
Audience loves everything. That's what I was thinking the other day, because there was, in that episode, there was a lot of extras, and I was just thinking to myself, like, how are these extras keeping it together in every scene? How are they not laughing when everyone else is fun and hilarious?
They're rolling around in the aisles.
Yeah.
How are they keeping it together?
Full ruffle.
And
full
with
ruffle.
that in mind, speaking of laughing, let's go to this week's laugh count. Rob, how many times did you laugh this episode?
I laughed a zero amount of times.
Pete.
This was a terrible episode.
I laughed once.
Oh, no!
Yeah.
Fucking hell! It's the first time it's happened in a while.
It caught me off guard. It was the Dr. Shelfman saying, "My people invented circumcision."
Oh my god!
Really?
That made you laugh?
Yeah.
Martin, you can leave if you want to. You don't have to be
I
here.
think
It's the most.
Like I said,
it's the
man,
most
I was
base-
watching this show in a fetal position in my bed, very, very like sick from like too much booze. I think I just needed anything.
you just needed a circumcision. That's all you needed.
Yeah.
It was the thought of a circumcised dick.
Yeah,
that
it was
brought joy to your hungover morning.
genital mutilation was what got me there.
Well, all I can say is me too.
Wait, you laughed?
No, I had what I would describe as a minor lull. So no, like noise came out of my mouth, but I was like, if I was stupider, I would have thought that was funny. And that was
You were laughing at
the
thinking
bit-
of a version of you that's slightly dumber.
yeah. It was the part where Sheldon, talking about his sister, her eyebrows got burnt off, and their mum had to draw them back on, and he said something about, "Oh, I just thought that the second grade syllabus made you quizzical or something," and I thought the phrasing was like kind of humorous, but no laughter as such.
I can see. Yeah, I thought that joke was probably the best joke of the episode. Like, it was something that was actually constructed rather than a reference to something.
Yeah.
Still very disappointed in you, Martin. And obviously for me, 0 still. I'm still on the board for 0. I think Pete's on 4 or 5 laughs. Rob's on 3
Probably.
for the whole first series. I'm still on a solid 0.
We do go on a trust basis though, so we don't know if
fuck
Vaughn's
off.
actually on a solid 0.
I want to laugh. I'm really excited to see the thing that gets me. If surely out of 250 plus episodes, I surely one thing has to like slip through the keeper somehow.
And hopefully like
What
later
episode
on
of-
there is new writers or something happens.
What episode
Yeah.
are we at? We got to be nearing the 200 mark. That's what it feels like.
Oh,
Where
we're
are we
episode
at?
15.
Oh, fuck's sake.
So
How many episodes are there?
there's 281 plus another season, and that it's not cancelled yet. So we got a while to go.
Christ.
And speaking of laughing and stuff, there's something that this show introduced a concept at the very start, and I can't remember the exact way it was introduced, but it was basically something. Sheldon's sister said, "Hey, we're gonna measure humor," and he goes, "Well, how would you even measure humor? Some sort of humometer?" And so this is my new
Yeah.
segment. It's called the Humometer, where all of us will give us a rating of what we thought the humor was in this episode. The Humometer from 1 to 10, or 0 to 10. What was your and to 1 decimal place? What was your humor ranking for the episode? We'll start with you, Martin.
We're going out of 10.
0 to 10.
10 being the funny.
Yeah, 10 being the
funniest.
funniest.
I don't know. I mean, depending on who you are as a person, but my humometer registering like a 2 tops.
2. Okay. Rob.
Yeah, a 2 just because it tries to be funny, but it's just not.
Right for effort. 2 for effort.
2 for effort. Why not? That's a positive score.
For existing, basically.
Can-
Pete.
Also,
Just
are there,
being a
hang on,
fucking show.
are there episodes that you've watched that didn't try to be funny?
It's just like when everyone gets cancer and they're all going through stage 4 cancer treatment.
They didn't even try this
Yeah.
episode.
That's not funny at all. I'd be, a 2 or a 3 as well. Like I find humor in the fact that it's trying to be funny, but it's failing miserably. Like that's what makes me.
I'm gonna take that as a 3 because you
Yeah.
actually laughed.
Yeah,
which
that's
is
3.
ridiculous.
There we go. I'm comfortable
Mine
with that.
is gonna be a negative 9. So if we get the average from that, hold on, I'm gonna go to theaveragecalculator.com and I'll figure out the average. So we have and so from now on, every episode we're gonna have.
One of Bazinga Boys' sponsors, averagecalculator.com.
Thanks for supporting this episode. It's actually a site called Calculator Soup, so we should give them the proper shout out they deserve. So 2, 3, -9. So the sponsored by Calculator Soup, the humometer rating for this episode was what?
It just says Bazinga.
I mean,
I don't know.
Bazinga.
What the honk?
Vaughn, you gave us you told us it was between 0 and 10, and then you picked a fucking negative.
I think it's
Yeah.
-2. Because it says some -2, but then it says average -2 divided by 4 equals -0.5. So
Can I just point out that the characters in Big Bang Theory would not need to use calculatorsoup.com to figure this one out.
well, they got me there. Fucking hell. Rob,
Yes.
what happened last week? You owe me something.
Yeah, so last week there was a fun segment, a not body shaming segment called What's Wrong with Penny's Body? And in that, we found that she had a body tattoo. It was a tramp stamp. It was a Chinese symbol. And Vaughn, being culturally appropriate, decided that the punishment, if you couldn't guess what it was to do a Japanese thing. To write a Big Bang themed haiku. So, I wasn't actually that hard of a challenge.
You
but,
lost.
I managed to. I lost, so I had to write one, and I followed the trend. I made sure I involved seasons as well as the 5-7-5 syllable. So
What's
I'm sending
what's the seasons thing about a haiku?
the idea of, I mean, I did a bit of research on it just to make sure it was right, and there's got to be a cut, so something has to kind of catch you off guard a little bit, and then there has to be it's usually about the season, so about the earthiness. So I made sure I involved that and linked it to the Big Bang Theory. So I'm sending it through now, and I don't want Vaughn or Martin, I don't want you to look at the group. I just want people to read my
Okay,
haiku
great.
out.
Sending it through
So
through Facebook.
So for those who don't know, a haiku essentially is...
Don't send
Facebook.
it through Facebook. Can you just send it through Calculator Soup chat app?
So yeah, if you don't know what a haiku is, it's 3 lines, and there's 5 syllables, 7 syllables, and 5 syllables. And there's a cut, so it kind of like it can defer you, and also at the same time, if you can involve seasons, you don't have to, but it means it's right on. So I feel like I've made a spot-on traditional Japanese haiku about the Big Bang Theory. So here you go, Pete. If you could read it out for us, that would be fantastic.
Okay, so here we go. Sheldon's droopy eyes, Penny's stipples, winter brings. Howard shelves his cum.
Wow.
Oh dear.
That
That was
is
beautiful.
probably
That's
the
haunting.
best thing you've done. Yeah, haunting. It's like hauntingly beautiful.
So whimsical. Sheldon's
Yeah.
Sheldon's droopy eyes, Penny's stipples, winter brings. Howard shelves his cum.
That's really good. I'm really impressed with that, Rob. That was like on theme with our like previous episodes about shelving and everything. That's great.
Thank you. I wrote that last night, right before a relatively serious conversation with my girlfriend, and I just kept smiling, and she's like, "Why are you laughing?" I was like, I'm not smiling." And I was just
Rob,
thinking
I'm
to the Howard
pregnant.
Chelsea
We didn't
cum.
plan for this. Wait a second. I got something now.
Howard shelves his cum.
Oh, God.
I argue that if you didn't find that entire thing funny, you haven't listened to every episode of our series, and that's your fault.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I got a new segment, but no, it's a recurring segment. For every time we have a guest on, we always go through this segment. It's called the Mart Tank. Because every time we have a guest, I think it's up to them to decide, as a neutral party, which of us does a better pitch. So we're going to pitch Martin a better ending to this episode. So we've got to go with what we're given. So the episode starts with Sheldon's sister comes to town. The boys fight over who gets to bang her. And we got to each pitch you an ending for the episode that was better than what actually happened. And you got to choose the best one. And you get to crown the winner of the Mart Tank.
Okay, I'm thrilled. Let's do
This
it.
is going to be really hard when we have a guest on that doesn't have a name that rhymes with shark, but we'll figure it out as we go along.
It should just be called the Mart Tank permanently in my honor.
Okay, there we go. That's the,
Okay.
In remembrance.
In your honor.
Rob, do you want to go first?
Sure. Okay. So this episode's totally fine up until the moment where Sheldon is talking to his sister in the bedroom and deciding, like, he's having a chat with her about how he wants to freeze her eggs and then find the right specimen to essentially sperm them and chuck them back in her and give her a good
Sperm
kid.
them.
For that,
Sperm them. I would like to sperm your eggs. Are you Sheldon? For fuck's sake, Rob.
well, I'm winning the Mart Tank here.
Gotta sperm me some of them
All right,
eggs.
so so the fertilization of the eggs. Basically, she likes Raj, as we find out later on. So he tells her that Raj has actually fertilized those eggs, but in fact, linking back to Vaughn's initial incest theory, it's actually him. He's spermed those eggs to get that nice, what do we call it? DNA, get everything going, so they make a genius kid that is also hot like his sister. So basically, he fucks his sister without her even knowing. That's my ending.
Ta-da! And then the audience,
so dark.
the audience is rolling around
And
laughing.
then the audience loves it.
Yeah.
They love it.
Yeah.
They ruffle. They lol. They everything.
Fuck, it's like the plot line of an HBO drama.
Or just Bold and the Beautiful.
Pete,
Yeah,
do you want to go?
perhaps.
I'd like with the times, because this was released back in 2008, I think, this episode. So I think it would be where it turns out that Sheldon's sister's actually gay. That would be the big one. So it's just kind of like, sorry boys, I'm not interested. Good luck with your life. And then she hooks up with Penny.
I actually thought that was going to happen at one point in the episode, but that is a way better ending. So this is embarrassing. Okay, so I'm going to do a last second audible of my thing, because mine was eerily similarly close to Rob's. So I'll read my original one, and now I've got to go for a new idea, okay? Because
So Vaughn, you had time to think about this. Me and Pete obviously didn't.
okay,
really.
I was writing this as we're in pre-show, so give me a break. I've been dealing with a computer all day.
All right.
So as Rob says, Sheldon takes his sister into the room. They talk about him finding her the perfect mate, and then he realizes that he is the perfect mate, and he pitches creating an Uber baby with his sister. And so there's about like 10 minutes left in the episode. So the next 9 minutes is a montage of them trying different ways of conceiving this baby, set to the Mighty Boss tones, and
Maybe making music.
and the episode ends with them giving birth to a weird alien baby with an arm growing out of its head. But I'm changing that now because it's way too close to Rob's. My new ending is just the last 10 minutes of the episode is just references to Star Trek and Star Wars. That's pretty much it. So, Mart, out of those three really great pitches, who gets the $30,000 out of your bank account?
Oh God. Well, given that two of them were more or less the same, I'm really into the idea of Sheldon's sister being queer. I think that would have been quite progressive.
That's what I mean.
For a
That's what I was
show
saying. Like
of its
2008, that would have been quite on trend to actually put that into a
I'm
major
sorry, but
television
sexual
show.
preference isn't a trend, Pete. So why don't you just buck up right there?
One thing I do want to say that kind of surprised me, because I haven't seen this sort of like this kind of a sitcom in a while. I was surprised by some of the racier sort of humor, like references to circumcision and the sex book, the Kama Sutra, and like blatantly just saying foreskin. Like that wouldn't have happened in the 90s.
That's the problem is they throw these things out there. They don't throw them out as jokes. They're just like foreskin, sex. Hey, I stalked you. I followed you.
Yeah.
It's not creepy.
Well,
it's
I
funny.
agree.
And
It's
then the audience laughs.
not a well constructed joke. It's done for shock. But I am surprised that they go there in this format. This family sitcom style format. I'm just surprised.
So I'll let you know that the very first episode, season 1, episode 1, the show opens with Howard and Sheldon in a sperm bank. So they started the bar really low.
Was it Leonard and Sheldon? or
Right.
Howard?
Okay.
Right, Sheldon and Glasses Man. Sorry, I don't know the names.
Glasses man. Yeah.
Do you guys have any other seggies? Actually, by the way, congratulations, Pete, for not going straight to incest.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of myself.
Can we touch back on something that happened previously? We've talked about this a lot, and Vaughn brought up a good point a couple of episodes ago
That's a first.
about how the writers fucked up by making it so Raj couldn't talk to women. And in this episode, they found a mechanic where he was able to talk to women. And I thought, oh, cool, like they're moving forward with this.
Well, just so you know, Martin, they established at the very start of the season, Raj can't speak to women, so he just goes silent in front of women. It really sucks when one of your main cast members is a woman, so he just sat silently for most of the season. And I realized last week they started to do stuff where he could speak in front of her, and I was like, they're trying to retcon this. They're trying to write their way out of it. And then next fucking episode, he's found a miracle drug to make him speak to women.
Well, what we've learned from him is when he does talk to women, he's a bit of a dick. Like, he's a bit of a slut. The first time he took advantage of a drunk woman who liked the fact that he didn't talk. He wasn't drinking. She was drunk, and then he slept with her. And this time, as soon as he'd taken this drug, he was just making fucking Kama Sutra and slutty talk. So Raj is a cunt, and it's probably best he doesn't talk to women. So, I don't know.
Well, yeah,
Probably
but I
best.
think all of the men in the show are pretty terrible. Like, it's not just
Yeah.
him.
All of them except Sheldon, because Sheldon's asexual, but the others are...
You can
The
still
others,
you
yeah,
can
they're
still be a
all-
terrible person.
Yeah,
and be
exactly.
asexual.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
They don't get a free pass, Rob.
Well,
I mean-
yeah,
Yeah.
Sheldon was the
No.
one that was trying to claim ownership over his sister's reproductive rights.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
yeah, he's pretty
But
awful.
he was thinking for the greater good of the human race. At least he had, like, reason. They were just thinking about their
At
dicks.
least he had reason. Fuck off. Like, him having like a good baby is going to help the human race.
Was anyone else hoping that at some point the Raj's drugs was just going to give him a giant boner?
Well,
I
to
was
be
like,
honest,
come on,
I thought
boner,
I
come
thought
on.
I thought at
It
the
just
start
didn't
of this episode, because I have not seen anything. I didn't realize that Raj couldn't talk to women. So when Missy, whose name I hate by the way,
Yeah, exactly. It's the worst.
it's the worst name. Like came out and said hello. He just didn't say anything and turned around and left, and everyone laughed. And I was like, did he get a boner? Was he trying to like hide it? Like, why did he leave? And then they did that sitcom thing where they all just stand there like looking at each other, and until he walks back into frame, and it's like, what's going on? Like, this fucking sitcom format. It's so
Yeah,
shit.
I love the like waiting around for like audience laugh to end.
No, that's what I was just thinking. Like, it's probably just like 2 pages of dialogue, and that's the
Yep.
entire script, and that's 20 minutes of material because you can just pad it out with audience laughter.
To be fair, our podcast is just 2 minutes for just Pete laughing in all the gaps.
Speaking of Pete, let's move on to Pete's nitpicks. Where are we at this week,
Dude,
Pete?
I didn't have any. There was nothing that
It was a struggle.
There was nothing that annoyed me. More than the episode
You're
itself.
too busy laughing.
That doesn't seem in keeping with the tone of this podcast. Nothing bothered me.
That was an alright episode.
Except for everything.
Can I express a nitpick that I
Yeah, of
picked up
course.
on?
Yeah,
Okay, we've
that'd
got
be
a new
awesome.
segment. It's called Martin's Nitpicks.
Do you say Martin's dick pics? Or Martin's
You're-
dick pics?
Yeah,
call
you
it
haven't
the
been
first one.
following the chat. There's like, get on the calculator soup chat. It's going off.
Look, if it's called Martin's Dick Pics, it's going to be a very short segment.
That's one for the Big Bang listeners. I love that one. Fuck yeah.
Sheldon takes a very, very long time spreading mayonnaise on a piece of bread. They're all watching him make this sandwich, and he's there for like 10 minutes making this, like, just spreading mayonnaise on this piece of bread, and then he's putting ham on the bread, like this wet ham, and then he waves a piece of cheese in someone's face. And then his sister comes in and says, "Can I talk to you privately?" And he says, "Yeah, okay." And he goes to the bedroom without washing his hands. Imagine what his hands smell like.
Do you know what's amazing? Like in the previous episode, he complains about a sandwich being put together in an incorrect fashion. So that's incredible because it's not in keeping with his character and
The continuity on this show, it's
the
terrible.
continuity of sandwich making.
Oh god.
Also, another dick pic from me. Why is Missy a southerner? Why does she have a southern accent?
Because she's from the south.
But why doesn't
solved.
Sheldon have a southern accent?
Mystery solved.
They're from the. I think they're from the Midwest.
Sheldon-
But like I guess
No, but why doesn't Sheldon have a southern accent?
Sheldon got sent to university at a very young age, so he like graduated from high school when he was like 1, and then went and got a PhD when he was 14. So he was well and truly out of the South by that stage. So
Well, all I can say is fuck this show.
I got a new segment. It's called the Mia Khalifa Mission. So, what?
it called?
The Mia Khalifa Mission. So I'm going to be starting a campaign this week to get Mia Khalifa on The Big Bang Theory. So I'll keep you updated on that. I've got some ideas on how to get Mia on the show. And if we can make this change in the world, like, how big would that be? That would be lovely, wouldn't it?
So, are you suggesting that, like, us and our listener tweet directly at Mia Khalifa?
Well, Martin's on the show this time, so we got no listeners right now. So yeah, anyone who's listening right now, the weird aliens have picked up this broadcast somehow in the past because of light travel and all that kind of thing. If you can tweet at Mia Khalifa and go, get on The Big Bang Theory, and I'll have some other stuff that I'll do to just make sure that this happens, because I got some ins in the industry, don't I?
I just love the unscientific terminology you just used. Light travel and all that shit. Someone in the future.
Don't want to bore you with the details. You know how it works.
Fucking light travel.
Bloody wormholes and that.
Black hole theory. Stephen Hawking and everything. So, with all that in mind, let's get Mia Khalifa on The Big Bang Theory. I think she'd actually make the show good.
It'd be great, though. We get her on the show, and then it's still like 5 years until we get to that episode.
Exactly, we get no payoff. Oh, that's pretty good, actually. Well, I hope the show's still going. I don't know 100%, because it'll be the egg on my face if I'm there tweeting at her and she replies and goes, yeah, let's sort it out. And then I find out the show's cancelled. Sure. That's it from me. Anyone else got anything to say? Well, what a lovely day we've had today. You know what? It's put a bounce in my step. I don't know about you, but until next week, I've been Vaughn and I'm a Bazinga boy.
I'm Rob and I'm a Bazinga boy.
I'm Pete, Bazinga boy.
Martin, who are you?
Oh, I'm Martin. I'm a guest Bazinga boy.
Thanks for coming, Martin. What a joy. Bye!
Well, thanks for listening, and if you made it through both this episode of Big Bang Theory and this podcast, you're obviously a great person and a huge success in my eyes. So if you're interested, please come and take a look at my dumb art stuff at www.martinewills.com and on Instagram at martinewills. And make sure, of course, to check out the official Bazinga Boys website at bazingaboys.com. Beware imitations, of course. There's many copycats out there. And follow and subscribe on Twitter at Bazinga_boys and Facebook.com/Bazinga Boys. And until next time, I don't know. Please don't touch my fallopian tubes, Sheldon. That's weird. And like Bazinga or whatever. Is there an outro thing that people say on this? Is there a catchphrase? Bazinga? Is that it? I don't know. I can't wait to come back. It's going to be great.